Hello friends, welcome back to our channel CHAK with Knowledge. This is the only channel where you get all the important updates about banking. Bank Employees Federation of India submitted 12 bipartite settlement charter of demand to IBA separately. Today's video will be a long video as we will tell you full contents of BEFI demands. However, as it's a very important and useful for us to know all demands, hence we request you to watch video till the end without skipping as you may miss important points. So, let's start the video now. Charter of Demands for 12 Bipartite Settlement. The tenure of 11th Bipartite Settlement expired on 31st of October 2022. We are appending our Charter of Demands for 12 Bipartite Settlement with reasonable improvement over 11th Bipartite Settlement. We would request you to start discussion on the caption subject to reach an early settlement. First point is basic pay. Revision of basic pay with effect from 1st of November 2022 by merger of special allowance along with DA payable on basic pay and special allowance at the average index for the quarter July to September 2022. Construction of revised pay scale by loading thereafter at 20% to clerical staff and 25% to subordinate staff. Fitment on stage-to-stage basis. Stagnant increments. Stagnant increments once in 2 years without any ceiling for both clerical and subordinate staff. Stagnation increment to be given in all cases of reversion from officers to clerical cadre and clerical to sub-staff cadre. Point number 2 is special pay, PQP, EQP, FPP, officiating pay. Entry level SWO A to include duties of SWOB and existing special pay of rupees 1250 to be clubbed with basic pay. Entry level subordinate staff cadre to include duty of draftery and existing special pay of rupees 850 to be clubbed with basic pay. Special pay to be revised by merger of DA and loading as in the case of basic pay. Further increase in special pay amount commensurate with the duties, responsibilities and risk involved in each post. Revision of PQP, EQP equivalent to the first stage increment in the pay scale. Revision of FPP on the same lines of revision of basic pay. Sanction of additional increments of subordinate staff for acquiring additional qualifications like graduation, JAIIB, CAIIB. Anomaly in denial of additional increments for directly passing post-graduation to be rectified. Restriction in payment of officiating allowance to be removed. Formula for computation of officiating pay needs to be revised and made simple. Officiating allowance to be paid for each single day, 7-day stipulation to be dispensed with. Point number 3 is dearness allowance. DA compensation to be 110% for clerical cadre and 120% for subordinate cadre. DA to be paid based on CPI 2016 100 index series instead of CPI 1960 100 series. DA to be revised on monthly variation in index. DA to be revised on rise and fall of every point in the index. Point number 4 is house rent allowance. Revision of HRA rates suitably on the revised pay. Areas population group to be reclassified and based on latest census figures. Treating peripheral areas of metros including National Capital Region, urban agglomeration, greater areas at par for payment of HRA. Introduction of lease accommodation facilities to employees. Payment of HRA on capital cost, rents received basis up to 150% of normal entitlement. Payment of HRA to employees residing in banks' quarters after recovery of standard rent. Revision in HRA rates at places based on mid-census population figures. Revision in HRA at project area centers. Payment of HRA to employees of project area who does not reside in accommodation provided by bank. Number 5. Transport pay. Existing transport allowance to be substantially increased without ceiling along with DA thereon. Point number 6 is other allowances. Educate increase in all existing other allowances. Educate increase in halting allowance, reimbursement of lodging expenses. Introduction of education allowance. Introduction of closing allowance, mid academic year allowance, discomfort allowance for staggered odd hours duties. Extension of allowance paid to central state government employee like disturbed area allowance, island allowance, agency, tribal allowance, remote difficult area allowance, etc. Extension of northeast incentives as per 6 pay commission and as extended to RBI employees in northeast Sikkim. Far-flung difficult areas in Uttarakhand to be paid special area allowance at par with Leh, Ladakh, etc. Hill allowance to be given to all districts where state governments are paying hill allowances. Officiating allowance to be paid for each single day. 7-day stipulation to be dispensed with shall be minimum 20% of emoluments of the absentee. Point number 7 is leave rules. Improvements in leave rules. Casual leaves. Casual leaves to be increased to 18 days. Unabated casual leaves to be sanctioned without medical certificate. Privilege leave. Accumulation of privilege leave to be increased to 300 days. Encashments of privilege leave should be increased to 300 days where there is any shortfall under PL. Sick leave to be allowed for encashment if available. Employees to be permitted to avail privilege leave on 6 occasional in a calendar year. Annual encashment of 10 days irrespective of length in service. Privilege leave availed irrespective of number of days on grounds of sickness on production of medical certificate be allowed without being counted as an occasion despite having sick leave in credit. Employees to be permitted to avail their privilege leave on production of sickness certificate even in cases of illness of their family members residing with them. Privilege leave encashment to be permitted in case of loss of job due to punishment resignations. Notice period for availing privilege leave should be reduced from 10 days to 7 days. Intervening holidays falling in between the leave period should not be counted as privilege leave. Next is sick leave. 1 month sick leave for every completed year of service without any ceiling. Submission of medical certificate be waived for availing sick leave for small ailments like fever, flu, etc. for maximum period of 5 days. For this, number of occasions in a year may be stipulated. Employees to be permitted to avail their sick leave on production of sickness certificate even in cases of illness of their family members residing with them. Special sick leave over and above the normal eligibility of treatment of cancer, renal failure, major accidents, etc. and in cases where all leave has been exhausted. Intervening holidays falling in between the leave period not be counted as sick leave. Sick leave may be granted to women employees to look after sickness of a child up to 12 years of age, number of days to be increased. Next leave is maternity leave. A female employee to be granted maternity leave for legal adoption of child up to 1 year within the overall entitlement for a child up to 5 years of age. Over and above the maternity leave, another 60 days to be given to cover cases of hysterectomy. Maternity leave to be of 2 years in service period for women employees and for 1 year on one occasion or one child. Next leave is paternity leave. Paternity leave to be extended to 30 days per occasion. For adoption, maximum age of the child to be increased to 5 years. Next leave is child care leave. Childcare leave on the lines available for government employees to be extended to bank employees also. Women employees. Special leave with pay to women employees for menstrual complexities. Weekly holidays. All Saturdays to be declared as holidays. Number 8 is medical aid hospitalization. Medical insurance scheme. Since introduction in 10th Bipartite Settlement, the scheme has not been reviewed at industry level. Review of the existing scheme is suggested. Defined common guidelines to be issued for availment under buffer category. Buffer amount to be increased substantially. Annual medical aid. Substantial increase in annual medical aid amount due to escalation in cost of doctor fee, medicines, pathological examination, etc. Health checkup. Reimbursement of health checkup expenses at least to those above 35 years of age. Periodical eye checkup for those who operate computers and reimbursement of protective spectacles with high quality anti-glare lens. Executive health checkup for all workmen employees beyond 40 years of age. Point number 9 is leave fare concession. Improvement to be made in LFC scheme on distance, class and mode of travel, etc. LFC to visit abroad to be permitted. One more option for change of periodicity. Package tour to be allowed within overall limit. Partial encashment of LFC to be allowed. Reimbursement of expenses on road travel, actual road mileage cost of rupees 15 per kilometer, whichever is less. Point number 10 is other service conditions. The lump sum amount available to an employee for serving in deployed center to be increased to rupees 2000. On duty journey entitlement to be 2-tier AC for all the trains. On transfer. Transportation of personal effects by road by an IBA approved transport operator to be permitted in all cases. To increase the stipulated weight up to 5000 kgs. Compensation due to breakage or damage to be increased to rupees 3000 on production of receipt and rupees 2000 in case no receipt is produced at uniform rate of clerical cadre and subordinate cadre. Suitable allowance to be introduced when an employee is transferred on request. Point number 11 is superannuation benefits. Provident fund. Bank's contribution to be enhanced to 14%. Gratuity. 1 month's pay for each year of service rendered without any restrictions. Last drawn pay or 12-month average pay, whichever is higher, to be taken for computation of gratuity. For gratuity, the existing ceiling on exemption limit for income tax to be removed. Pension related issues. NPS to be withdrawn and all employees joined since 1st of April 2010 to be covered by old scheme under Pension Regulation 1995. Periodical pension updation along with wage revision. Basic pension of all existing pensioners to be updated at the same index level like basic pay or serving employees with July-September 2022 average. DA revision change on pension to be at par with serving employees. Extending second option for pension to employees who resigned between 1995 and 27th April 2010. One more option to be extended to the CPF optees to old pension scheme. Qualifying service for full pension to be 20 years. Average of 10 months for last drawn pay, whichever is higher, to be considered for calculation of basic pension. Service rendered in defense, if not counted for defense pension, to be added in bank service for payment of pension. Additional pension to be given to the surviving pensioner after completion of 80 years of age and more as per slabs in the line with central government employees. Restoration of communication after 12 years. Incorporation of provisions in pension regulation in synergy with clause 6b 6C and 6D of settlement dated 10th of April 2002. Extension of para 368 17 of statutory award to pension optees. Family pension. Restoration of lower ceiling on amount of monthly family pension. Full pension as family pension for 10 years or up to the age of 70 years, whichever is earlier. Payment of family pension to unmarried widowed daughters for life, and if spouse and daughters are not available, then to parents. Disbursement should start within 3 months. Cost on superannuation benefits should be outside and over and above the negotiated wage cost. Point number 12 is bonus ex gratia. Bonus Act to be amended to remove the existing eligibility ceiling and bonus to be paid to all employees. Till the Act is amended, ex gratia in lieu of bonus should be paid to all employees. Point number 13. Compassionate ground appointments. Compassionate ground appointments to the family members of the employees who dies in harness to be suitably revised without further delay. No arbitrary restriction in the number of compassionate ground appointments. Application by dependents of expired employees who died from COVID-19 must be considered without any restriction and released with priority within a specific time frame. Definition of family and dependents. Family for the purpose of hospitalization, leave fare concession to includes brothers till they attain 25 years of age who are ordinarily residing with wholly dependent on the employee. Point number 15. Dependents income criteria. Amount for defining dependents to be increased from Rs 12,000 to Rs 25,000 per month. No income criteria for those dependents who are pensioners. Point number 16 is loans and advances. Increase in quantum of interest-free festival advance to 1 month gross salary uniformly in all banks. Introduction of education loan scheme to wards of employees for pursuing graduate, postgraduate education, etc. under concessional rate of interest. Housing loan in case of death of an employee to be written off insurance premium to be borne by banks. Housing loan to staff members to be substantially increased at nominal interest uniform in the industry. Point number 70 is outsourced, contract, temporary, casual employees. All type of outsourcing of regular permanent jobs to be withdrawn which are not covered by existing settlement provisions. All temporary, contract, casual, outsourced employees to be observed. Equal pay for equal work for contract workers as per judgment of Honorable Supreme Court. All business correspondents may be observed recruited as permanent employees. Point number 18 is voluntary cessation from service. This chapter needs to be deleted in view of court judgment. Those who were removed from service under this clause to be extended a chance of appeal. Those who have been treated under this provision to be covered under pension scheme and pension to be sanctioned to them. Point number 19 is part-time employees. All part-time sweepers, Safai Karmcharis to be converted to full-time sweepers. Permanent part-time employees on consolidated wages prior to 1st of May 2010 and made one-third wage recipients from 1st of May 2010 be covered by Pension Regulation 1995 and not under NPS. Improvement in fitment formula of part-time employees on enhancement to higher scale full scale wages. Point number 20 is retired employees. LFC reimbursement to be extended to retired bank employees. Interest-free festival advance to be introduced uniformly in all banks. Ex gratia to pre-1986 retirees widows to be revised. The percentage of allocation towards welfare schemes of retirees to be uniformly defined. Free annual health checkups including spouse. Medical insurance premium of retired employees to be borne by banks and to remain fixed for at least 3 years. Point number 21. Expenses while on transfers. Transportation charges on transfer to be reimbursed in full by any mode. Packing charges to be reimbursed. Hotel accommodation for 6 days with halting allowance on transfer of an employee. Travel expenses and joining time to be allowed to employees on their transfer to another station. Road transport charges to be revised. Breakage charges to be revised. Point number 22. Other suggestions. Streamlinks and defined businesses banking hours within working hours. Deletion of para 536 to Shastri Award. BSRBs to be revived. Personal drivers in the banks to be regularized. All existing vacancies due to retirement, death, resignation, promotion must be filled up. Separate washroom for women in all branches, offices without exceptions. Declaration of bank holidays on 8th March and 1st May in all states for International Women's Day and International Workers' Day respectively. Point number 13. Physically challenged, differently abled employees. Government guidelines on concessions to such employees in transfers, rotations, posting, etc. to be strictly followed by all banks. Revision of conveyance allowance paid to these employees as per government guidelines. 25 days CL to physically challenged employees. Full pension to physically challenged employees at 50% of pay irrespective of service rendered. Point number 24. Ex-servicemen employees. Uniform and consolidated guidelines incommensurate with that of the government to be issued for fixation of emoluments of ex-servicemen joinings of banks. Point number 25. Staff Welfare Scheme. The formula quantum for the allocation from profits for the Staff Welfare Fund to be revised, increased and to be based on operating profits. Point number 26. Performance linked incentive PLI based only on operating profit irrespective of year to year increase without considering net profit criteria with minimum 15 days payout. Point number 27. Relativity. While finalizing pay scales and other service condition, the relatively with other industries including the financial sector to be kept in consideration. Point number 28. Regional Rural Bank Grameen Bank. Extension of benefits of special pays other allowances to regional rural bank employees at par with industry level agreement. Implementation of industry level pension agreement in the regional rural banks without any deviations. And the last point number 29. General. The settlement to be effective from 1st of November 2022 for 5 years. Union reserve the right to alter, amend, add, delete or revise the demands in due course. So friends, this is the Charter of Demand to IBA by Bank Employees Federation of India. If you have any questions or suggestions, you can ask me in comment section or you can mail me also. And for more important videos like this, please subscribe our channel and don't forget to press the notification bell. So see you in the next video. Thank you.